What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another NFL Breakdown here on Sharp Sports Network. I'm your host, Joe Beer, and I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite plays from this divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Pretty interesting week last week in the wild card. Had a ton of upsets, with Minnesota upsetting the Saints, Tennessee upsetting the Patriots, and then the Bills kind of getting destroyed up 16-0. But I'm here to break down this divisional matchups, so let's jump into it. Over here on DraftKings, the pricing here is pretty interesting. Mark Ingram's projected to be, he's questionable right now, so we're not sure if he's going to play. So Lamar Jackson's price is hiked up. I expect that he gets pretty much involved in all the rushing work, but I'm just not willing to pay 8.4K. I can't do it. But for me, Pat Mahomes seems to be the best play for me at 7.5K. Incredible matchup against Houston, who gives up top 5 most points to quarterbacks in the league. But if I'm talking GPPs, I'm probably going to go Russell Wilson, 6.6K going up against Green Bay, who's terrible passing defense and terrible rushing defense. I don't like them at all. I think they're middle of the pack at best. So for me, I'm probably going to target Russ Wilson at 6.6K. I think it's an incredible matchup. I don't really see how you get away from Russ Wilson at 6.6K. Aaron Rodgers doesn't make any sense for me. He's $100 less than Russ. I'd rather just play Russ. And then I don't really have any interest. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo against Minnesota. It's not too great of a matchup, and I don't really think he throws too much. But I'll probably just play Russ or Pat Mahomes as my 2 quarterbacks on the slate. Running back is a very, very juicy position this week. Derrick Henry, obviously one of my favorite running backs on the slate. Aaron Jones, though, has got to be one of my favorite backs. At 7.4K, he's just been tearing it up this year. I believe he has 16 rushing touchdowns. He obviously leads the team. He leads the league in rushing touchdowns. He's just going to get a ton of run. They're going to play the game slow like they have been. Green Bay just hasn't been throwing him much. They've been leading with Aaron Jones, passing through Aaron Jones. I just think Aaron Jones is just a must-play in this position. He's probably one of my favorite running backs on the slate. Damian Williams as well at 6K, going up against the 27th ranked rushing defense in the Houston Texans. I think this is a great spot for Damian Williams. I think it's actually a cheap price tag, to be honest. I love Damian Williams today at 6K after last week when he absolutely destroyed for 34 fantasy against the Chargers. I think it's a great matchup. And then for me, Carlos Hyde as well is in a great matchup as well against Kansas City. Both of these teams just have terrible rushing defenses. 5K for Carlos Hyde is an incredible spot. Even when they were down, they're just rushing through him. 16 rushing attempts last week. Not too much in the pass game, but he's just getting the volume that we want. So I really like him a ton this week. And then maybe if Mark Ingram misses, I'll go Gus Edwards. I think it's probably the lowest I'm going to go at running back this week is 4.9K for Gus Edwards. I don't really see me playing Travis Homer or Mostert. Not really Dalvin Cook at all at 8K. I'd rather just pay $200 more for Derrick Henry, who got 38 rushing attempts last week. I think it's really hard to fade Aaron Jones. I think it's really hard to fade Derrick Henry and Damian Williams, and then Carlos Hyde as well. Wide receiver this week, just plug him in. Tyreek Hill. It's an incredible matchup. He should be the chalkiest receiver of the week, and for good reason. Going up against Houston Texans, I think this is a spot where you just can't fade Tyreek Hill. Playing in the slot, he's just going to own everybody. I don't see how Tyreek Hill doesn't go for at least 30 DraftKings points this week. I think it's such a good matchup that you just can't ignore. He's obviously not the highest priced guy on the slate, Devontae Adams, who I have no interest in. I was going to see a lot of Shaq Griffin or Trey Flowers. Don't really like the matchup for him at all. I know he's the only guy really on the team, but that just leaves a little bit open for Alan Lazard. DeAndre Hopkins, he got pretty much blanked by Tre'Davious White, if I'm being honest. He got a couple lucky balls. Just not a good spot for me that I really want to target. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf is priced above Tyler Lockett for the first time we've seen in a long time. I really like Metcalf here today at 6.8K. The price tag doesn't scare me off. He's definitely my favorite mid-price receiver. I don't really have any interest in the Minnesota guys or the Tennessee guys, but if I'm playing a San Francisco guy, it was a great matchup. I really like Deebo Samuel here. He gets involved in the passing, gets involved in the rushing game. I think it's a great spot for Deebo Samuel. They're really getting him involved. 27th ranked passing defense, or 26th. I think it's just a great spot for Deebo Samuel at 5.2K. It seems really cheap for me. I hope Will Fuller plays so I can play him because they're just going to be trying to stop DeAndre Hopkins a ton, and Will Fuller is just a straight streak route. I love Will Fuller in this spot if he plays. But these low-tier guys, Alan Lazard is in a great spot if Devontae Adams gets blanked. I like him at 4.5K. Marquise Brown just seems really cheap going up against Tennessee. And then Sammy Watkins seems like a misprice at 4.3K. I think somebody made a mistake on that one. Tight end here today, Travis Kelce is going to be the most popular. I personally prefer Kittle. I think Kittle's pretty much the only one who gets it done in the passing game on San Francisco. But if I'm going to play any low-tier guys, I think Darren Fells at 3.5K. He got worked in last week for 7.7 fantasy points. wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. I think Darren Fells is in a great spot this week, as well as Jacob Hollister. But for me, if I'm going to pay up, I'm probably just going to play George Kittle at 6.2K. I like him a ton, especially if Travis Kelce ends up not playing, which I'm assuming he'll play. I just like George Kittle a ton. And then for defense this week, I think it's pretty straightforward. A lot of people are going to play the Ravens or the 49ers defense. I like the 49ers more than the Ravens against Minnesota. But if I'm going to play a low-tier defense today and kind of punt, I'm going to play the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is a great spot. Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked the same. They've been playing such a slow play style. It's hard to not attack them in this matchup here today. So that's who I would punt with. So that kind of concludes DraftKings. Let's jump over here to FanDuel. Pat Mahomes is priced largely below Lamar Jackson. Makes me like him even more. Lamar Jackson 9.4K is an absolute fade for me. Aaron Jones as well. Derrick Henry's priced too high over here. It's really hard for me to play him. But Damian Williams is priced appropriately. Carlos Hyde is priced a little bit up. And they have Gus Edwards priced really low. Assuming Mark Ingram misses, I really like Gus Edwards here today. I know that if Mark Ingram misses, I'm assuming Lamar Jackson is just going to try and run the ball a ton by himself. But Gus Edwards is going to get some of that goal line work. Wide receiver-wise, Tyreek Hill is actually the third price wide receiver on the slate, which makes me love him even more. I would assume that he would be around 8.3K, but 7.9 is amazing. DK Metcalf is priced a little too high for me to like him. But Deebo Samuel at 6.1K just seems too cheap. I like Deebo Samuel a ton today at 6.1K. He's 5.9 or 5.2 over on DraftKings. And then I believe you can pay out for a ton of guys over here, so I'll probably play Metcalf over here on FanDuel. 7.5K and 7.4K for George Kittle. It's really just tough for me to play any of them unless you're not playing another. If you're playing two high-tier receivers, you're not playing a high-tier tight end. So for me, if you're playing Metcalf, you're not playing a high-tier tight end, you'll probably play Darren Fells or Jacob Hollister. I'll probably give the nod to Jacob Hollister just because of the matchup, but both are pretty much good for me. Like I said, highest tier guy, if I'm going to play one, is going to be George Kittle. And then defense on this slate, they have the Seahawks as the lowest tier defense, which I think is absolutely absurd. Seahawks are my favorite low tier defense. And then they obviously have the they have 49ers and the Ravens priced up pretty appropriately. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Pretty much my core is going to be Pat Mahomes, Aaron Jones, and Tyreek Hill. I love them a ton. I think you can easily fit them in on both sides. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. And you should be in the stream tomorrow at 11 for the breakdown of this slate, live streaming tomorrow on Sharp Sports Network, twitch.tv/Sharp Sports Network. I'm going to do it tomorrow and Sunday. Also going to have some good NBA content coming out as well, so stay tuned for that. Good luck to everybody tomorrow, and if you're not a member already, $25 on the site gets you the rest of the postseason. It's such an incredible offer. We've been absolutely killing NFL this year, so go ahead and snag a pass. Good luck to everybody, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the live stream. Peace.